Alright, welcome back for part 2 of our week 1 tactics lesson. So this is going to be a breakdown of the chain of command in the battalion with the MS4 leadership. So this might have been covered at lab, but we just want to do a quick rundown, remind you who everyone is so you can put names to faces and who does what. So, as Cadet Blake calls them, the big three. So these are going to be your main cadet leadership. So on the left we have Cadet Mataluri, and he's going to be the battalion commander. Now he is the head cadet, so he serves as the liaison between what cadre wants and cadet needs. So he's going to be planning our events, and he's basically the man behind the scenes planning every event that we do. In the middle we have Cadet Gomez, who is the command sergeant major, so she's going to be in charge of all of the cadets and making sure that they're in the right place at the right time in the right uniform, and that all the discipline and standards are being enforced. And then on the right we have Cadet Leonard, who is going to be the XO, and her job is going to be making sure basically everyone else that I show you in the slideshow is doing their job to help out the battalion commander. So S1 is going to be personnel, so they are in charge of making sure that all the cadets are where they're supposed to be at the right time. So that's going to be Cadet Sherelle and then Cadet Rowe, and those are going to be your personnel officers. So if attendance needs to be taken, they're the ones that are going to do it. If you're missing, they're the ones that need to take accountability for that. And then the S2 is going to be intelligence. So this is going to be Cadet Jackson, and he's going to be doing, figuring out all of the intelligence for, let's say, our lab. So he might be giving reports about the place that our lab is going to be and what conditions you have there. S3 is a big section, and it's going to be operations. So this is everything that the battalions does. So S3 is going to plan your labs, they're going to plan any events, they're going to plan all of that. So the main S3 is Cadet Carter on the left here, and you will recognize him because he's going to be putting out all of our op orgs. So every plan that we do in ROTC has an op org, and that is basically a written out plan of how the event is going to run. So every lab is going to have an op org that you'll read through. It'll tell you where it's going to be, what you need to wear, what we're going to be doing. Our two MS3 trainers is going to be Cadet Beebe and Cadet Busby, so they're going to be in charge of making sure the MS3s are on the right track, and they're going to have what they need to succeed at camp. The MS1 and 2 training is going to be Cadet Sammy, so same thing, but for the MS1s and 2s. And then our future operations is going to be Cadet Struss and Cadet Susie Lee, and they're going to be determining our future operations, so future labs. S4 is going to be supply, so if you need anything, you go to supply, and they may or may not give it to you. So our S4 section is going to be Cadet U and Cadet Melman, and those are going to be S4s. S5 is media, so their main job is going to be taking pictures of you, putting it on the website, running the Instagram, running all the social media. So that's what S5 does, and that's going to be Cadet Lynn and Cadet Rendon. So if you see them taking pictures, that's what they do. S6 is going to be our communications, and that is going to be Cadet Myring. So he's going to be in charge of certain cadet spaces, such as the computer lab, the cadet printer, and any forms of communication. So that is what S6 does. S7 we don't have. S8 is going to be finance, and that is going to be Cadet Kim. So if you need money for anything for the battalion, let's say you're a club captain and you want to buy t-shirts for your club, you're going to talk with Cadet Kim. As an MS1 or 2, you likely won't interact with the S8, but if it comes up, that's who that is. Your PRT officers, so the ones in charge of planning and operating PRT every morning, that's going to be Cadet Hull and Cadet O'Brien. So they're going to be in charge of the daily PT plan, as well as the ACFT and height and weight. Your academic officer, so this is Cadet Seeley, who's going to be in charge of your blue cards, and then after lab, every week you're going to have an after action report, an AAR, and that's basically a survey of how did this lab go, how can we improve it for next time, and so Cadet Seeley will be running those. And then I believe lastly is Cadet Ralph and Cadet Jones. They're going to be your recruiting and retention officers. So they're going to be running our open house, they're going to be running our day in the life and our ISTW events. And they will also be, I believe, keeping track of your volunteer hours. So that is what Cadet Jones and Cadet Ralph do. And our last section for this week is just going to be a general intro to the big army. So while ROTC is Army-based, it's, as SMP cadet will tell you, it's not the same thing. Basically, ROTC is to prepare you for camp at the end of your junior year. So the summer between your junior and senior year, you're going to be going to Fort Knox for a couple weeks and basically demonstrating everything you've learned as a cadet. So it's helpful to think of everything we do here as preparation for that, not really preparation for the big army. But there are similarities, like the chain of command. So our staff sections are pretty similar to the staff sections you're going to find in a real unit. And labs and super labs are meant to give you a taste of some of the skills you might use in the army, but there's a decently high chance that you'll never use any of this again. However, it's still important to learn because, again, like I said, you're going to get judged at camp, and that has a very large impact on your future career. So what is camp? So camp is a 1-month summer training that you do after your junior year, and they're going to test you on everything you've learned in ROTC. And camp is so important because after camp they will give you a score based on how well you did, and that score is going to have a big impact on what career you might have in the Army. So for example, if you want to branch something pretty competitive like infantry, if you don't do all that well at camp, there's less of a chance that you get the branch that you want, especially if it's a competitive branch. So that is the main focus of ROTC, and that's generally why MS3s get all the attention, is because they're preparing for camp. So that is the end of this week. So on the left, we've got a QR code for our tactics website. That is new this year. That is going to be the place where all of our videos and all of our PowerPoints and all of our discussions are posted. So make sure to check that website out. And also make sure to join our tactics channel on Slack. That's where all of our announcements are going to be posted. All right, that is all for this week. I will see you, hopefully, at the in-person meeting, whenever that is, and for week 2, when we talk about Army customs and courtesies.